So with the UFC's new Paramount Plus deal coming into effect next week, next Saturday for UFC 324, uh, Dana White has been. You'd expect him to be, promoting and stuff like that, trying to boost it up for the first card of the deal for the next 7 years. And you'd think he'd be doing all this stuff, but no, he's actually still the same Dana White that he always was. This week, or rather yesterday, he was attacking people for not liking the fights that have been put together. And he's also came out with some statements that are like a bit just he doesn't care. He doesn't care anymore about the UFC. It is ruining the company. It is ruining the fan experience for getting hyped up for fights. There is no promotion whatsoever. Dana White is just there being like he's like a mascot pretty much. He's just there. I think he just stays there because he's Dana White. They can't really be replaced because it wouldn't really feel the same. But at the same time, he's not helping the UFC at all. At all, not one bit. So today I kind of want to talk about a series of things. One was this video about he was in an interview with Complex saying that asking about if McGregor versus Chandler is going to be on the White House card. Obviously, McGregor Chandler was supposed to take place, I believe it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago this summer. Obviously, that was when McGregor pulled out. He like broke his foot or something like that. I think it was his toe. He broke his pinky toe or something like that, and that fight didn't happen. And obviously, since then, it was kind of anticipated. Will it ever happen again? And people have been thinking, it might happen on the White House card. But McGregor, biggest name ever in MMA. Chandler, an American, like a really big patriot kind of guy. After his fights, he's always like bigging up America. He's got the flag on his shoulders. Be a perfect fit. And in this interview, the interviewer, I don't know his name, but he asked, uh, I'll just play the video and then I'll go after it. So that's what he said.
In Connor, do you see like that as like a realistic thing
No,
happening?
I mean that was a couple years ago.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
nothing you'd entertain for
No.
White House.
No.
So yeah, Dana White just said he's not going to entertain a McGregor Chandler fight, which I believe is like a huge, drop of the ball. Like that is like the fight to put on the White House card. Because realistically, one, if you're gonna have McGregor on it, who else would he be better suited to fight other than Chandler? Chandler's on like a 4 fight losing streak. McGregor hasn't fought in 5 years, almost 5 years. There's not really many people you can give to McGregor that he'll have a good chance of winning against, other than like Chandler, because Chandler's old. Chandler's older than McGregor. I'm pretty sure. He's on this losing streak. McGregor needs like some layup if he wants to come back into fighting. Like get maybe 2 or 3 more fights at most out of him. Chandler's the perfect one. But not even that, not even him just saying McGregor Chandler's not happening. He doesn't even say anything about McGregor. Like McGregor's been all over social media. Obviously, like McGregor in the past has been known to kind of like say he's coming back to fight, but he never actually does. But we don't know that. McGregor has been active on social media, saying he's wanting to fight, saying he's, looking for a comeback. I think even at one point he said he wanted to do it against Michael Chandler. But here in this interview, Dana White doesn't even say, "Oh, we've got other plans for McGregor," or "We're looking at something else for McGregor," hinting at a different McGregor fight, someone else for McGregor. Because McGregor's wanting to come back. That is the cash cow, or one of the cash cows for the UFC. That would bring a lot of people over to the UFC, a lot of eyes to the UFC. McGregor makes his big return in almost 5 years of fighting, or of not fighting rather, and I believe it would be really good for the company and for the promotion, and they would get everyone hyped up. Like, can McGregor like show us that he is still capable at the age of 37 or something like that? I think he's 37, and that would be good. But Dana White doesn't even hint. He doesn't even say no. We're looking at something else from McGregor. Maybe like the off chance he's trying to keep it a secret for whatever reason, but I don't believe he is. Maybe he's just being lazy with promotion. Who knows? Yeah, that was that, and that's just me kind of saying, if he's not even looking at McGregor as like a potential, not even the White House card, just at all, like he just doesn't want to work with McGregor, then like I don't see why he's. It just doesn't seem like McGregor's want to come back. Dana White's not having it. I think that's a really stupid opportunity, like to be missed. But yeah, that's like one thing I've seen this week. This was another thing. I believe it was this. Yes. So yeah, Dana White responded to a fans uh, responded to fans who questioned why Diego Lopez got a title shot against Alexander Volkanovski instead of another contender such as like Lerone Murphy or Evloev. And then he said, "If you don't like it, don't watch it." This is the problem. This is one of the big problems with why with having no pay per view because now they have Paramount. Even if people don't want to buy this or don't even want to get a Paramount subscription, or rather, I should say, if people don't want to watch this, they don't have to watch it because the UFC is going to get paid anyway because they're on the Paramount subscription because they're partner with Paramount. Paramount will pay them so much money per big numbered event. So the UFC do not need to care about numbers, about how many people who watch it. One person could watch this and they wouldn't really care that much because they're in a 7-year contract, so it doesn't matter. And it's also well, that's one part because obviously with the pay per views, if there's a pay per view, the UFC needs to make the money on that. The UFC would have to rely on pay per views, will have to rely on promotion so that they get the money for the pay per view because it's a big event they're putting on. Whereas now Paramount Plus or Paramount as an organization will help pay for the events, for the broadcasting, all that stuff. Whereas before the UFC had to really rely on the fights themselves, the talent of the fights, the hype of the event to sell it as a pay per view, but now they don't. And yeah, Dana White saying if you don't like it, don't watch. It's like, what is this guy doing? He is the promoter of the UFC, and people were saying that when this fight got announced, when Diego Lopez versus Alexander Volkanovski 2 got announced as the main event for what was it UFC 235 or 325, sorry, I should say. Uh, People were like, why the hell is Volkanovski fighting Lopez when they had just fought last April? I think it was. It was last April, the first fight, and Volkanovski won. Why are they doing a rematch? Yeah, you can say like Diego Lopez is like you can never count him out or whatever like that. You can say it might be totally different, and who knows? It might be different. It might be different in the rematch, but he doesn't deserve. I don't think he deserves the rematch. Yeah, he beat Gene Silva. He like stopped Gene Silva, but usually if we want to be like proper, he needs to get like at least another win before getting another title shot. He can't just be Diego Lopez can't just be given another title shot for one win against Gene Silva, who was like what ranked like number 9, number 8, maybe that might even be too high. He might have been in like the top 15. He might be number 11 or something. But yeah, Dana White saying don't if you don't watch it, don't or you don't like it, don't watch it. It's a big spit in the face to actual fans who care about fights and care about the product of the UFC. Because there's a lot of fans, myself included, that yeah, you could say the UFC is like its own company and it's like making everyone richer and blah blah blah. But you actually care for the product. You actually want to see the company grow and actually lead down the line to better fighters coming in, better talents coming in, and it's a more enjoyable viewing experience for people who like the sport because you like the sport because you like the sport of MMA, or you like the UFC rather because you like the sport of MMA. You're interested in it, maybe you train it, and you want to see it grow, and you want to see other people because you want to see your friends, your family, whoever, just people around you watch the sport because that's what you like. And with Dana White doing this, it just puts down the UFC completely. It's like this reminds me of I don't know, this might be very niche, but I remember when Battlefield 5 from like 2018 came out, or like it was the trailer had come out or something like that, and one of the developers said like if you don't like it then don't buy it. And that game like tanked at launch. And or not tanked, but like severely declined in sales. And this could be like a repeat if Dana White keeps acting like this. Like you could see the UFC just like kind of slowly go down and down and down if he does keep acting like this because the fans supply the fans buy the stuff. The fans will buy the Paramount Plus subscriptions. And if Dana White's saying this, people aren't going to buy it. People are going to be doing other things. You know what I mean? So, if Dana White's not nice to the fans, if he's not giving the fans what they want, why would they buy it? What's the where's the you know the can't think. I'm blanking the word, but there needs to be a reciprocal benefit to this because Dana White can't just like spit in the faces of people and expect them to buy the product. So yeah, and also last point was this next part. This so yesterday, I believe no, sorry, not yesterday. 3 days ago, I believe this was on Tuesday, I think. Uh, yes, the UFC tweeted this. I think it was on Instagram as well, or just everywhere on social media, right? So the UFC tweeted like Dana announcement incoming. The boss has, he's going live on Instagram, right? And they've done this before. Like you would probably know, they tweet this before. But the problem is, I'm not joking. Well, one, this was the tweet. So they tweeted this. They know it's going to go live later to announce something, right? They don't say what it is. They just say he's announcing something. And this is what he announced. He announced this. He announced he announced Israel Adesanya versus Joe Pyfer and Grasso versus Barber 2. And the gap in time was, so that says 12, this is my time, but like 12 a.m. the next day, or rather 12 a.m. the next day, and then the tweet announcing that he was going to live was what, 10 hours prior. So they'll tweet this ambiguous like tweet saying he's going to announce something, and then they'll make fans wait 10 hours before he actually goes live. And I guarantee you that is down to Dana White. Dana White's, oh, I'll do it when I'm ready or whatever. That is the most lazy, like, spitting in the face of fans, like, business doing, like, I've ever seen. It's like, no, if you're like a real company, if the UFC wants to be a real company, if Dana White wants to still be, like, looked at as a, proper promoter, this tweet should have a time for all time zones and stuff like that. Because the UFC, obviously, it's fans around the world. This should be saying he's going live here. He's going live at this time. And obviously, it was on Instagram because they have that stupid Meta partnership. They just announced the UFC Apex is going to be called the Meta Apex. Whatever Zuckerberg's, him and Dana White and Mark Zuckerberg are in a back room or something, doing whatever to each other. But with the Meta glasses, like, POV. But yeah, so this whole like tweeting this, they've done this before. They've done this like handfuls of times, like multiple times. They have done this where they'll just do this ambiguous tweet and not say what time, and then people will have to guess the whole day. Maybe they're looking forward to it. I was looking forward to it, and you just have to wait and wait and wait, and then it's not even that. You're waiting for so long. You're thinking it could be anything, and it's this. It's this. These fights. I couldn't care less about these fights. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really care about who Adesanya's fighting next, especially now since it's Joe Pyfer, because I don't really like Joe Pyfer. Not because I don't know, like he seems alright, but I don't really have much interest in him. And like same goes for Adesanya. Like after so many losses, I just can't. I don't really want to watch him fight. You know what I mean? So and then obviously Grasso versus Barber 2, who cares? I'll be at the toilet during that fight. So yeah, no one cares about that fight, and it's like they're making fans wait 12 hours to announce this. I thought it was gonna be like some pay-per-view headliner. Maybe one of the first fights that are on the White House card, something like that, something big. If you're gonna make fans wait for like 10 plus hours to announce this, it's like, yeah. And then you have Paramount Plus fucking doing this fire emoji, and then it's like, yeah, the interns or the admins are working overtime at Paramount Plus to be glazing these fights. But yeah, yeah, and yeah, so that's kind of it. That's kind of a lot to talk about. Dana White just he's either got to buck up his ideas, like kind of realize what the fans want, and actually be a good promoter again, and or else he's just gonna have to like when he goes, no one's really gonna care. It's like that. you know that thing where it's like you either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That's what Dana White's. That's what's happening to Dana White. Everyone used to love Dana White, like like say 3 years ago. Everyone used to love Dana White. He was like when he'd be at the press conferences or the post-fight press conferences as well, and he'd be maybe in the media there was someone bad mouthing him or some fighter had an issue with him, and Dana White would like get all snappy and you know say something like say he's like a clown or whatever. He'd say something funny and it'd always like make you laugh. It'd go viral as well. But now it's getting to the point where, or rather, before I finish that, I was gonna say, yeah, he'd make you laugh, and you just couldn't imagine. There was a point in time where you just could not imagine the UFC without Dana White. He like Dana White and the UFC, it was synonymous. Dana White is synonymous with the UFC. It's his company, and he was one of the trio that founded it and got it going into what it is today. And you couldn't imagine it without him. But now today, for the last like 2 years or whatever, especially the last year, he's been really bad, like really really bad. Where it's like if you've seen him go in like however many years or whatever, even today, if you've seen him go, it'd kind of be like, okay, cool. It was on the decline. It's like if they get someone else in, hopefully they're better than what Dana White was doing now because it is actually getting kind of bad. The only good thing is that for the announcements, he has actually gotten a HD webcam instead of like when he'd film it on the jet with like a. Genuinely, I don't know what he'd film it on. Maybe because of the Wi-Fi in a jet. Why is he doing fight announcements in a jet? Who knows? I have no idea. But yeah, that's kind of all I would say about Dana White. But hopefully, I like him. I loved him when I first got into the UFC. Not so much recently, but hopefully he realizes his mistakes and he can kind of get back in touch with the fans. So that's kind of all I wanted to say about this today. And please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.